Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of Rick's Garage. Today we're going to take a look at how the front bumper comes off the 10th Gen Civic, and as a bonus install some LED marker lights.
Say hello to the bad side. My emotion is flatline. Hungry demon, what I'm seeing is snack time. When I rush in the grab, I better run from the path line.
For most of Phase 2, Miss Vicky was without her front bumper. Now you're going to have to remove it if you want to upgrade the intercooler, charge piping, or in the case of Phase 3, make some aesthetic changes. Removing the front bumper is pretty straightforward, but there's some specific steps that will make the removal easier, as well as minimize the chances of damage. So let's jump right in.
Remember those awesome push clips from the underpan in episode 13? Well, there's more, so like before, be careful when removing them, but here's the part number just in case you need it. Let's start off by popping the 10 clips holding down the radiator cover. Once that's out of the way, remove the remaining 5 clips on either side that hold down the weather stripping for the hood. Remove that and set it aside as well. Next, the eyebrow trim needs to be detached from the headlights. The clips are hidden behind the trim, so press a screwdriver down into these slots and you'll feel them pop loose. You can also detach these from the back of the grille and remove them separately. It makes the process a little more awkward leaving them on, but I didn't want to risk forcing the plastic and breaking them. You'll find out why in another episode. Moving to the bottom of the bumper, there's 2 Phillips head screws in each wheel well. Remove these along with these fasteners, and the bumper is ready to pry off. If you're doing this job by yourself, now would be a good time to disconnect the electrical for the fog lights. Once those fasteners underneath have been removed, fold the underpan back to gain access. If you can get another set of hands, the fog light connectors can wait until the end. Using a soft pry tool, disconnect the bumper clip located directly below the marker light. Notice I stuck screwdrivers into 2 push clip holes on top of the bumper. The last thing I want is for the paint to get scratched when things pop loose and fall because I wasn't ready for it. Once the bumper skin can start to pull away from the car, gently pop the next few clips by hand. The last couple of clips are located under the headlight. Use your soft pry tool, but be careful where you apply leverage because there's some paint scratch potential here. You can also cover the area with painter's tape for some extra security. Repeat on the other side, and when you're ready and in position, pull out the screwdrivers and the bumper comes off. Now if you didn't do it earlier, make sure you don't forget about those fog lights.
With the bumper removed from the car, I wanted to take this opportunity to replace my marker lights with the tinted LED ones that I bought off of eBay. The cool thing about these ones is not only are they plug and play with the factory harness, is that they've got this extra lead that you can connect to your turn signal, and it lights up with amber LEDs as well.
The marker lights can be removed with the bumper still attached, but it makes it easier without it because there's less surfaces that can get scratched by accident. They're held in with 2 clips. The front one's a tab that will act like a hinge once the rear one's been popped loose with a flathead screwdriver. If you leave the bumper on, you'll still have to remove the 2 screws in the wheel well to allow the plastic to flex out of the way to reach the rear clip. One last thing to note is when you release the electrical with a flathead, make sure you don't lose the pigtail in the fender. It is an absolute pain to have to fish it back out. The new markers didn't come with a bulb housing, so we're going to need to reuse the factory one. A quick twist and pull removes it from the factory casing, and we're also going to remove the bulb. The new lights plug directly into the OEM socket, and then the excess wire gets fed back into the casing, and the bulb socket is snapped back into place. Before the marker light electrical gets plugged back in, the turn signal wire gets fed into the fender. Again, you can install these with the bumper in place, but there's a lot more access without it. Once the electrical connector is plugged back in, all that's left is to make sure the turn signal wire isn't going to get pinched before snapping the new marker in place. To get the amber LEDs working as a turn signal, we need to locate which wire it's going to tie into. If you read the wiring diagram, you'll know it's this one, but for everyone else it's easy to find. Just activate the turn signal and grab a test light. With it connected to a ground, check each terminal on the plug until you find the one that flashes. Once the signal wire is fed up through the fender, I'm going to use a Scotch connector. The way these work is both wires go into the connector and the slotted spade drives down, piercing the insulation on both wires, making a connection. Now personally, I'm not a big fan of this type of connector, and the only reason I'm using them is because these marker lights are eBay specials. If they don't hold up, I want to be able to remove them easily. Now if they do last, I'll come back and make a proper connection later. Before I'm finished, I'll hide the wire in the factory loom, but let's go see what these things look like.
Hole and busted. new hotness.
Daytime running lights, signal, back to daytime running lights. I have to admit, taking the whole front bumper off of a nearly brand new car is just a little bit intimidating. As you've just seen, it is possible to do it by yourself, but having done so, I would strongly recommend doing this with a friend. I'm going to leave the protective plastic on the marker lights until the bumper is back on, but of what I can see, I think the tinted lenses are really going to suit the car. So if you've enjoyed this video, be sure to hit that like button, and if you want to see what I do with the bumper now that it's off, subscribe to get instant notifications as soon as the new episode is ready, and as always, thank you very much for watching.